Hey, Dr. Ray here, founder of the Learning Liaisons, and welcome. Welcome to our Wednesday evening math sessions featuring our math specialist and your math specialist, Amy Sink. In the next hour, Amy has put together a sample set of approximately 10 practice questions that run the gamut from kindergarten levels all the way through 12th grade high school math. Now, I know you are attending here, watching this, and you're like, well, I'm doing elementary in Texas, or I'm doing elementary in Praxis, or I'm doing high school math in Florida, or middle school math in Texas. And what's going on here, right? So we're doing these sessions to help you guys out and provide you with different ways to look at problems and to build that confidence. Because here at the Learning Liaisons, one of our major objectives is to clear up the testing confusion, give you the support you deserve in order to nail your exam and be done with it. So our focus is on math. Now, are we going to be just focusing on high school math the whole hour or elementary? No. We've got a mixture here. Now, Amy's going to go through a bunch of problems. You're going to have the opportunity to download those as a PDF. So when Amy starts, just pay attention to the screen. We're going to have a message there for you so you can download the PDF in case we don't get to all the problems and want to practice on your own. She's going to do her best to go across all different grade levels. If you have a question, you feel free to ask Amy your question as well. We're teachers here too, so we can multitask. Our job is to make sure that we give you what you need to be successful. But if you're like, dang it, I didn't have any questions this week, don't worry. We'll be here next Wednesday night as well. So bring those questions with you if you want, and you can ask Amy away. Because here at the Learning Liaisons, we pride ourselves in providing you guys the support you need to pass your exam. So whether you're our Florida teachers here with our FTCE exams, our national exam, Praxis peeps, big shout out to you guys out there too, and especially our newcomers to the Learning Liaisons brand, TExES Prep. So whether you're elementary, middle school, and high school, we've got your back. So sit back, relax, grab your popcorn, get ready to learn some math, and stay tuned for the end because I'm going to jump back on to close this out. And I got a special surprise for you guys who really want to get the real deal prep and get everything you need to be successful and practice, clear up that confusion, and pass your certification exam on the next attempt. So, welcome to the Learning Liaisons community. Always remember, it's when you pass, not if you pass. So without further ado, let's turn it over to the reason why you're here, Amy. You with us, Amy? Let's get going.
Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Wednesday Night Math Night. Like Dr. A said, I am Amy Sink, and I am one of the math specialists here at the Learning Liaisons. And we just love what we get to do, which is help you feel more competent and confident in your math skills as we work through these problems. We are here every Wednesday. I always like to give you an opportunity to tell me what you want to see us go over in the coming weeks. So I always have a next week section. And in this section, I like to include things that maybe you're struggling with. So let me know in the comment box what you're struggling with or what kinds of problems you want to see me go over in the upcoming weeks, and I'll be happy to add them. As you can hear, I am getting over quite the cold and cough and upper respiratory infection, whatever you want to call it, that is going around. So we are going to do like a half session tonight just because my voice is not going to make it, nor is the cough or the sinus stuff that's going on. That's why we were not together last week. But I wanted to get together. I wanted to go over just a few problems with you because I love sitting here with you and I love serving the community in this way. And so I wanted to make sure that we got in a few problems tonight. And hopefully by next week, this will all be better and we will be good to go. Before we get started, let me know in the comment box where you're from, what test are you prepping for, and what is your favorite thing about fall? Now that we're over the Labor Day hump, you can't wear white now. What is your favorite thing about fall? I can tell you already, we have our pumpkins up in our house. The minute September 1st hits, I put those pumpkins out in our house. It's my favorite time, transitioning from summer into fall, into winter, into Christmas, and all the holidays that come with it. I just love it. So my favorite thing about fall is probably just the cooler, crisper weather, the football, the hot coffee, the family time. I am obsessed with September through December. So let me know in the comment box where you're from, what test are you prepping for, and what is your favorite thing about fall? And without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the first problem. Phoebe is trying to put carpet down in a room that is shaped like the shape shown below. How much square carpet will Phoebe need for the room? How much square carpet will Phoebe need for the room? So the problem is asking, I always like to look at what is the problem asking? Already the voice is going. How much square carpet will Phoebe need for the room? That means I'm looking for carpet, which is the stuff that's on the inside, right? It's the area that covers the inside. So I am looking for the area. I'm not looking for the perimeter. The perimeter would be like your baseboards. So if I was looking for perimeter, then we would measure the distance all the way around the shape. And that's a messy trace, but that would be perimeter. But in this case, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for that square area. Well, I know that area equals length times width if I'm doing a rectangle, but this is not a rectangle. This is an obscure shape that we have not seen or that we don't have a formula for. So there's two ways I can do it. I can look at this as one big rectangle that I can then erase. So I could find the area of that big rectangle, and then I could subtract the area of this smaller rectangle. So that would be method number one. Method number two would be I could cut this shape into rectangles that are familiar. So I could cut it here and I could find the area of rectangle 1 and rectangle 2. I could cut it here and I could find the area of rectangle 1 and rectangle 2. That is, I tend to like to cut the rectangle rather than find the area of the whole rectangle and subtract. It's just a preference thing. So I'm going to go ahead and find the area of these two rectangles, and then I'm going to add them together. So area of rectangle 1 plus area of rectangle 2. Rectangle 1 is this rectangle right here. So I know my length is 34, but I do not know my width. My width over here, this whole thing is 17. I also know that this section right here is 6 feet, because if this is a rectangle, let's call this the purple rectangle, then this is 6 feet, which means that this side is also 6 feet. So this is 6. Now, this is clearly not drawn to scale, and oftentimes the test writers will not draw things to scale so that you have to use mathematics and not what I think it's going to be. So I know that that's 6. Well, if I use a part-whole model, early childhood, pre-K through 3 people, if I look at a part-whole model or a tape diagram, right? If this is my whole and part of it is 6, what plus 6 is 17? Or 17 minus 6 gives me what? 17 minus 6 gives me 11. So this is 11 and this is 11. 34 times 11 equals, I'm going to use my handy dandy calculator. 374 feet squared. Now I can find the area of my purple rectangle. My purple rectangle is 12 by 6. I don't have to do any calculations for that. So 12 times 6 equals 72. That's definitely a fact you probably want to have memorized. And then I can add those two numbers together. 374 plus 72 equals 440 46 feet squared, which is C. Now, let's go ahead and do it. I want to show you because some of us might prefer the other way around. So let's say you wanted to do the area of the big rectangle minus the area of the small rectangle. Let's do that real quick. So let's say I wanted to do area of big minus area of small. So here is my big rectangle. And I know that it is 34 times 17. They gave me the two largest sides, right? So I can do 34 times 17 to find the area of the big rectangle. 34 times 17 equals 578 minus the area of this smaller rectangle. This is 6 times what? 6 times what? I'm reconnecting the iPad. So just like we did the 17 and the minus 6 to get the 11, I'm going to do the same thing with the 34. I'm going to do the same thing with the 34. So I have the big 34 on the top, and I have that 12 on the bottom, and I can see when it reconnects, I can see that if I do 34 minus 12, it'll give me that area, or that, not the area, I don't want to confuse you. It'll give me the length of the missing piece of that rectangle. So, come on, iPad. Reconnecting, here we go, here we go. All right, let's try this one more time. There we go. Okay, so I can do 34 minus 12 to give me this length right here. So 34 minus 12 equals 22. So this is 6 times 22. Handy dandy calculator. 6 times 22 equals 132. And 578 minus 132 still gives us that 446, but it's just two different ways to solve the problem. It's just two different ways to solve the problem. All right, let's look at another problem that they could ask with the same information. Phoebe is now trying to put baseboard down in a room that is shaped like the shape below. How much money will the baseboard cost if the baseboard is sold in 3 feet sections at $16 per section? So based on the other problem, we've already figured out that this side is 11 and that this side is 22. So now, if we are looking for baseboard, so they're asking how much money will the baseboard cost. So first I need to figure out how much baseboard I have. I need to take a walk around this shape. So 17 plus 12 plus 6 plus 22 plus 11 plus 34. So if I add all of those up, 17 plus 12 plus 6 plus 22 plus 11 plus 34, I get 102 feet is the perimeter. Remember, all perimeter is distance around a shape. So yes, there are fancy formulas like the perimeter of a rectangle equals 2 times L plus 2 times W. That's a useless formula. If you can remember that all you're doing is walking around the shape, then 2L plus 2W doesn't matter. Area formulas you need to memorize, but perimeter, all you're doing is going around the shape. Now, the baseboard is sold in 3 feet sections at $16 per section. So I have 102 feet, but it's sold in 3 foot sections for $16 per section. So now I need to figure out how many 3 foot sections are in 102 feet. So I need to divide 102 by 3 to figure out how many of those sections I need to buy. 102 divided by 3 equals 34. And now each of those 34 sections is $16. This word per usually means I'm going to do some sort of multiplication. So 34 times 16, because each section is $16. Section 1 is $16. Section 2 is $16. And I could add 16 34 times, but it's just easier to do 34 times 16, which is going to give me $544. Questions about that? All right, let's go on to problem number 3. Lines P and Q intersect at point XY at a 90-degree angle. If the slope of line P is symbol over W prime, what is the slope of line Q? If the slope of line P is funky symbol, Greek symbol over W prime, what is the slope of line Q? I am here to tell you that most of you are going to know the answer to this problem, but you're going to get overwhelmed because you see symbols that you don't know. And I don't want you to get overwhelmed by that. What we see is we have Greek symbol over W prime. We know that slope is rise over run, correct? Let's go back to the basics. Slope equals rise over run, which is the difference of my y's divided by the difference of my x's. We also know that perpendicular is a 90-degree angle. We also know that the slope of perpendicular lines is just the negative reciprocal. So if the slope of line A, let's say, is -3/4, then the perpendicular slope is going to be positive 4/3. So just because these symbols are not familiar to you doesn't mean you don't know how to do this. If I know that I'm going to flip and negate it, then I can look at my answer choices and say, I'm just going to flip this upside down. So I'm going to end up with W prime over funky Greek symbol, and it's going to be negative because one is positive and one is negative when I have perpendicular lines. So I see that C is going to be the correct answer. Let's look at a very similar problem with a different relationship. Lines P and Q do not intersect. If the slope of line P is funky Greek symbol over W prime, what is the slope of line Q? What is the slope of line Q? So if this is the slope of line P, what is the slope of line Q? If they do not intersect, what does that mean? They are parallel. And parallel lines have the same slope. So if this is line P, then this is line Q. That should have the little apostrophe or prime symbol. Fun problem, different, but definitely a fun problem. Let's go ahead and move on to problem number 4. Select the equation below that has no solution. Select the equation below that has no solution. All right, so if we're looking for the equation that has no solution, we need to solve each of these, or we need to plug in an x value to be able to figure out if there is no solution or not. So I can either solve all of these for x, or I can pick a random x value and see what happens. I am going to pick x equals 1, and I'm just going to plug it in and solve it that way. So I'm going to put a 1 in wherever there's an x. So 1 minus 3, because we do parentheses first, 4 times negative 2 plus 2 times 1 is 2 equals 2 times 1 minus 6 is negative 5. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8 plus 2 equals 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Negative 8 plus 2 is negative 6 equals negative 10. We've already found our correct answer. Let me show you how this is going to work in some of the others. 2 times 5 plus 3 times 1 equals 10 plus 3 times 1. 2 times 5 plus 3. 5 plus 3, 5, 6, 7. Okay, this is not working out the way I thought it would. That has no solution. 2 times 8 is 16 equals 10 plus 3 is 13. That doesn't have a solution either. So if I were to solve that, 2 times 5, now I'm going to distribute 2 times 5 because my original way didn't work. 2 times 5 is 10 plus 6x equals 10 plus 3x. On no planet is that going to have a solution. So we know that that's going to be an answer. And if I erase all of this, maybe there's 2 answers. 4 times x, 4 times negative 3, 4x minus 12 plus 2x equals 2x minus 12. 4 plus 2 is 6x minus 12 equals 2x minus 12. Well, that's never going to work either because you can't have 6x minus 12 equaling 2x minus 12. So we have 2 right answers so far. Maybe this should be the one that says select the equation that has a solution. All right, let's solve these. 4x minus 3y plus 5. Okay, 4x minus 3y plus 5 equals, I'm going to distribute that. 4x minus 4 minus 3y plus 12. Subtract 4x from both sides. That's just going to disappear. So I have negative 3y plus 5 equals negative 3y. 12 minus 4 is 7 plus 7. That's not going to work. So the last one, and I avoided it because, and I shouldn't have, I avoided it because it had fractions, just because it's going to take longer. So now negative 1/2 x plus 2 plus 9/2 x equals 8 times x plus 1/2 minus 4x minus 3. Woo! This is going to take a hot minute. So if I am simplifying this, I'm going to distribute negative 1/2 x, half of 2 is 1, minus 1, plus 9/2 x equals, distribute 8x, half of 8 is 4, minus 4x minus 3. Now I'm going to combine like terms. So combine my x's. 9 minus 1 is 8 over 2x minus 1. 8 over 2 is 4, so I'm just going to replace that. Equals 8 minus 4 is 4x. 4 minus 3 is 1. So this is the only one that's going to end up with a solution. So really what this should have said is select the equation below that has a solution. There we go. The only one that is going to have a solution is B. And had we plugged x into that, we would have gotten the correct answer. All right, we're going to do one more, and then I have a feeling my voice is going to, I'm going to start coughing. My voice is going to go out on me. So we will do one more, and then we will wrap it up for the night. If the sum of u and m, and again, here's another one where we have a weird symbol, but don't get weirded out by that. We could replace that with x and y. If the sum of u and m equals 19, u plus m equals 19, and the equation below is true, what is the value of u plus 2m? So this is one where we would need to solve a system of equations. So I'm going to distribute this 1/2 through. 1/2 u plus m equals 18. And then I have u plus m equals 19. I am going to multiply. I'm going to subtract these from each other. So that means that this is subtracted, this is subtracted, and this is subtracted. So 1/2 minus 1 is going to be negative 1/2 u. These cancel out. M minus m is nothing. And 18 minus 19 is going to be negative 1. Multiply both sides by a negative 2 over 1. Because if I multiply by the reciprocal, everything cancels out. So I get u equals, negative times a negative is a positive. Multiply these, I get 2. Plug that back into here. 2 plus m equals 19. M equals 17. So u equals 2. M equals 17. So what is the value of u plus 2 times 17? 2 plus 2 times 17 is 34. 2 plus 34 is 36. D. Questions? All right. Well, I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. A. Let me know in the comment box if there is anything that you want to see me go over in the upcoming weeks, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.
All right, so wasn't that an amazing session? Now, I know, depending on what exam you have to take, you're like, man, that was great, but she didn't address everything I needed. She focused on all different questions, and I just need elementary, or I just need middle school, I just need high school. Don't worry. Since you're still with us, I've got a special surprise for you. If you use the coupon code, all capital letters, SINK35, that's SINK 35. That will take off 35% off any of our prep courses on our website at the Learning Liaisons. It doesn't have to just be math. It could be anything that you need that we offer. And this is going to be an ongoing deal for you guys who attend these live sessions, because these are great. I'm sure Amy opened your eyes to some new concepts, some new ways to tackle problems, building that confidence. But this is just a smidget of your exam, the concepts on your test. So if you want the comprehensive view with the practice with Amy, with the practice test, with the lessons and the content review, we've got your back on our video boot camps, which all of them feature Amy Sink, your math specialist. So if you want to take advantage of that, the code is SINK35. You can use that at checkout on the learningliaisons.com website. And all that information is on our website as well, and on the bottom of the screen in this video. So we are here to help you. Once again, always remember, it's when you pass, not if you pass. Thank you for joining us again today, and hopefully we'll see you next week too. Talk to you soon.